Yes. Can you hear me? Check, test, test. Okay, we're good. Thanks, Joe. Trying to set up the room, as you can see, but just one more reminder, if you haven't scanned in, make sure you scan in the back of the room. That's how you get credit for attendance, okay? Also, I've got a couple more spots for lunch today at 1:30, so if any of you are available right after this class and you want a free lunch and a chance to hang out with Westin and get a network with him, ask him maybe some more one-on-one questions, just meet me in the lobby right after this class gets out at 1:20. And I think I've got 3 spots. So even if you went to a lunch before, you could still come to this one if you want. We'll just see how many people want to go, and if there's more than 3, we'll do some sort of paper, rock, scissors, rock, paper, scissors thing or something. So next week, we are going to hear from, all right, I'm going to take that off now that I'm by myself. Okay, next week we're going to hear from Dale Lewis. Dale is the founder of Fortress Clothing, which is really high-performance cold weather clothing, and he was recently on Shark Tank. So make sure you're here for that next week. Also, I'll post this on Canvas, but our first Bootstrap Your Business pitch competition is coming up. It's going to be next Thursday, September 17th, so a week from tomorrow. But the deadline to apply for that is this Sunday night, September 13th. So if you've got an idea, if you've maybe wanted to start something, or even if you have a side business that's already going, I encourage you to sign up for that. I'll put the link on Canvas. It's called Bootstrap Your Biz. It takes you to an online application that takes 10, maybe 15 minutes to fill out. After you fill that out, you'll get a call from either me or one of my employees. I'll meet with you and go over your application, and then if you're ready to pitch, you'll be in the competition on Thursday night, where you have a 3-minute pitch in front of your peers for a chance to win up to $500 for your business idea. So again, I'll put more info on Canvas about that, but the deadline for the application is Sunday, September 13th. Also, next Tuesday in the Grit Center, so over in the business building, if you know where the business building is on Main Street, Tuesday at lunch, 12:30, if you're available, we're going to have a launch lunch. I'll have some food there. We're going to talk about how to pitch. So this is a really good thing to attend if you are planning on pitching in Bootstrap Your Business next week, or even if you're not. We're going to talk about how to convincingly tell stories succinctly, how to get an audience to want to vote for you, tips like that. Last thing is this Friday at 10 a.m. in the Grit Center, for any of you that are interested in social entrepreneurship, so that's using business principles to solve social needs like hunger, poverty, hygiene, healthcare, things like that. We're going to be having a live viewing party for the Enactus World Cup finale. Enactus is a worldwide organization of social entrepreneurs and students. So that's starting at 10 a.m. in the Grit Center this Friday. If you want to come to that, you can invite your friends, bring some snacks, drinks. We're going to be watching the top teams in the world compete and getting ideas for things that we can do here locally. All right. Now I'm so grateful to be able to introduce to you our guest speaker for today. His name is Westin Dangerfield, and he's launched multiple products that have sold more than $1 million in sales in the first year. He has experience in product development, video marketing, connected devices, healthcare, product design, and engineering, and augmented reality. Over Westin's career, he's been fortunate to learn from mentors and coworkers to develop skills in product development, digital marketing, design, content creation, web and app development, and collaborating directly with developers and design teams. He truly loves working with startups. Westin graduated from Brigham Young University, where he was first exposed to entrepreneurship and business, and most importantly, developed his love of learning. So please welcome Westin Dangerfield.
hope you are all excited. And you're excited for me to come because of my last name. It's usually what people like. Let me turn this on. Hopefully I could pull up my notes here. Okay, so right today in our day and age, we have a lot of uncertainty. We've seen, like, there's in the last week even, the fires, we have hurricanes, we have an election coming up, we have COVID, we have just so much uncertainty in the world. And I think that could be really scary, especially starting out, you're in college, you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. And I think that on top of everything that's been going on in the world, it could be pretty scary. But with that, I just kind of wanted to throw this out there. You'll have to yell pretty loud, and I'll repeat your answers. But just kind of wanted to ask, like, why are you here? Like, why are you here at Snow College? Anyone can shout it out. The cost? Okay, so it's good cost for your education. It's very cheap. Okay. Okay, what's another reason? Okay, to further your education. Great. Anything else? Athletics, football. Okay. So let's kind of touch on those, I guess, really fast. So cost. Why is cost important to you? Okay. Okay, great. So you like the smaller class sizes for the cost of going to like another university to get your associate's degree. Okay, great. Furthering your education, why is that important? Like, why do you want to do that? Okay, so better career opportunities, probably making more money. Okay, and athletics, what do you want? Are you hoping to go somewhere else to play, continue to play, make it in the NFL someday, right? Cool. So you're all here for probably a little different reasons, and I think that looking back at when I was back in school, I had transferred around a little bit. So I went to SUU and then went to UVU and then eventually went to BYU and graduated there. But I just found that going back to the uncertainty, I had no idea what I wanted to do. When I first started, I wanted to be a psychology professor. That's what I thought I was going to do when I graduated high school. So I took a couple psychology classes, and then I think I just thought, like, hey, like, is that what I really want to do? I started taking a lot of other classes. Thought I wanted to go into accounting for some reason. And sorry if there's any accountants out there. It's really necessary, but for me, it just was not for me. I took the first accounting class, really struggled, but I was like, hey, I like this business thing. This is kind of cool, but I'm not sure if it's right for me. So then I was like, okay, now what do I do? So then I was like, what's the next hardest thing I can do? And I was like, I'm going to go to med school now. So I started taking a bunch of science classes, and it got to the point where I really enjoyed it, and I thought, hey, this would be really cool to be a doctor. I wanted to be an ER surgeon. But after a while, I was like realizing that it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I wasn't really excited about it. I wasn't motivated to get good grades. Obviously, to get into med school, you have to have good grades, do well in the MCAT. And I was like, I just didn't really want to study for it. And I was like, I was like, okay, is this really what I want to do? And this is after, I'd already been in school for 4 years. BYU kept sending me emails saying, hey, getting ready to graduate. Like, here's what you need to do to graduate. And I was like, I still don't know what I want to do. And I needed to figure that out. So what it turned into for me was school turned into an opportunity for me to learn. Like, my last semester, I took Mandarin Chinese because, like, hey, that'd be really cool. And obviously, it's really expensive. Looking back, like, I could have been a lot smarter about it instead of staying in school, taking these classes. But what I learned from that was that this is such a great opportunity for you to learn and to experience as much as possible. And I'll get into it a little bit more, but it also gave me the opportunity, and And all those different interests kind of came together that kind of helped start my career once I did finally graduate. And so we'll get into that. So entrepreneurship. What does entrepreneurship mean? To, again, just kind of yell it out. What do you guys feel? Any thoughts? Maybe that's why you're in this class. Okay, start something new. Okay, any other thoughts? Start a business. Okay. Be your own boss. Okay, that's a good one. Those are all good ones. The back. Make money. Okay, great. Yeah, I think so. He said have different sources of income and do it that way. So those are all correct, and that's what I love about entrepreneurship is that there is a lot of different ways that you can go about it. Let me see if this will work really fast. Hopefully, could have tested this out before. That didn't seem to work. We'll switch back. I just had a few little notes here underneath, so you might not be able to see it, but I just want to make sure I'm touching on everything I wanted to. So for me, again, you can see down there, entrepreneurship is like being able to test, to start over, to fail, to learn, to grow, and controlling your own destiny in a way. It's totally fine to have like what I would call like a stable job, like going into accounting or going to marketing or going into like be a doctor or whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with that. And I've found that there are kind of different types of people. Like what is it that you want in your life? Again, going back to like, why are you here? And what is it that you're trying to accomplish? So for me, again, going back to my experience, when I was at BYU, I decided not to go to med school anymore, and I've been volunteering at a ER up in Orem, and I got a job working for a medical supply company, and I was able to go to hospitals and the NICU, which is where a lot of the premature babies, they go in right after they're born, and they're monitored a lot. I would set their parents up with oxygen tanks and pulse oximeters, which measured their blood oxygen levels. So I was exposed to that. And again, I thought like that was pretty cool, but I didn't want to go to med school anymore. And there was a startup that started at BYU, and it's called Owlet. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but what it is it's a wireless pulse oximeter that alerts parents when their babies, if their heart rate or oxygen levels go outside of what are good zones. So essentially, it's kind of like a hospital monitor in the home, even though we couldn't really say that because of legal reasons. But that's what we were trying to accomplish. And so I was like, hey, this is awesome. Like, again, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm coming out of school, and I was like, I'm just going to go intern and work for free to just get as much as experience as I could. So this is one of the things, I guess, through that experience, I look back at it, and sometimes I think like, hey, I could have just as easily as any of the founders of the company or any of like the higher level like directors or VPs. It's like I guess I could have really taken advantage of that opportunity, and I would probably still be there, and I would just probably have like a pretty big position. So sometimes I look back at it, I'm like, oh man, I missed out on a big opportunity. But now looking at it, I realize that because of that, I was kind of a generalist. Like I was like, hey, what do you need to get done? I had went along with Mandarin. I started taking some computer science classes, so I did a little bit of coding. Not a developer by any means, but I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. And so I was doing the website. I was setting up all their customer service. I was like just doing everything that needed to get done. And so after 4 years, again, I was kind of like, it's like, oh man, like they kept trying to say like, hey, we'll pay for you to go be a developer, or we'll help you, set you up with some good mentors so that you can do this and this and this. And I just kept feeling like, it's like, this isn't what I want to do. Like, I kind of want to keep doing all of these things. And again, I didn't really realize what entrepreneurship was, at least to me. And again, I felt like I had to be like my own boss. I had to start a business. I had to, be this, in my mind, I had to be like the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, or just be this like amazing entrepreneur. And that was really intimidating for me. Like the thought of starting a business, like that was just really daunting. I was like, I don't know how to do that. And a lot of ways I probably still don't know how to do that. But what I did find is that I really enjoyed that process of building, like was mentioned before. So interestingly enough, by the time when I was leaving Owlet, I was actually over all of like the video production. So I was doing, working with these filmmakers and doing that, which was something completely different from going to med school. When I was done there, I was leaving and I was like, hey, I really like products, and I like trying to create things, and building was really interesting to me. And so I went and helped start with a couple of my buddies that I actually play hockey with in Provo, just like city league stuff. It's pretty fun. But I was like, hey, I don't know if you've ever heard of like a maker space. But what it is we have like 3D printers and laser cutters and a lot of tools to prototype or make like really early versions of our products. And so we started that's called ProLab Studio. That's just in Provo, and it's still going, but it was a cool place for us to work on our own products, and also for people to come in. So it's like a gym membership. So you pay monthly, you come in, and you have access to all these really cool machines that you wouldn't otherwise. So think of it in your mind like you may have an idea that you were like, hey, this would be a cool product, and it allows you to do that. And so that was a really cool way for us to again work on products. And then from there, Russ mentioned that I had some experience with augmented reality. So for those of you who don't know, let's see how well this plays. But you can, if you can see that, it was just at a park, and we have these cool like 3D models going around, and it looks like you're like in the middle of the solar system. So there's a lot of you probably using Snapchat. There's a lot of AR stuff in Snapchat. So again, this is something completely different from what I was used to and what I had been working on. But it was like, this is pretty cool. This is a startup, and what it actually started out as was, it was like Pokemon Go, but you win real prizes. Instead of catching Pokemon, you actually like get treasure chests, and you can save them up, and you can win TVs and cars and stuff. And it eventually evolved into this. And so again, that just gave me a lot of experience. And the point of me talking through all of these is just to kind of let you know, like, you can go out there and get a lot of different types of experience. And from that, I really learned a whole lot. Another one that I worked on after that was called Gobi. This one here, it's a little snack spoon. I don't know how loud this will be, so I'll turn it off just in case. But it's just so it's just like a little snack container for kids, and you push the button, and it rotates, and it keeps it nice and clean, but it's fun for the kids. So this is something that at that makerspace we actually 3D printed. This is just actually 3D printed pieces, and we used our laser cutter to cut this plastic for the top. So this isn't actually even a real product, but what was really cool about this experience was that we realized that we didn't have to go find manufacturers to make a bunch of it and go spend a ton of money. We spent probably a couple $100, and my co-founder, he went and he was up all night like sanding it and painting it and making it look all pretty. But it was really cool because, again, we were able to take just this idea that his wife had and make it into a product, and we put it up on a website, and within a couple months we had a couple $100,000 of sales, and we're like, okay, well, crap, now we have to actually make this thing because we sold them. But it was a really cool experience because we went from an idea, threw it up on a website, and we were able to actually make this prototype, which actually wasn't a real product, and do that. So that was really cool too. At the same time, I got involved with another startup, and we were doing like an engagement tool for college students. So, and now the college experience is definitely different with COVID. But when we started this a year and a half ago, it was going to be a central location for all the activities going on campus, and you can post activities and just to get students involved, because we're still going around putting flyers up, Facebook groups, and just activities are all over the place. But that was really fun because I was kind of back into the tech sector of things. And then after that, I went to a company. We started a thing called Pillow Cube. This is a really interesting experience because it was just really simple idea, but we made it. It really showed like the power of marketing. Let me show you here. Let's see. Hopefully the volume works on this one. Okay. We can watch a minute of it here, and you can read. Hopefully, you probably can't read the subtitles. But what all it is just a block of foam. It's just like a square block of foam that goes in. So if you sleep on your side, a lot of times you're having to, and you can see right here in this video, the different types of pillows that you have. And I don't know if a lot of you have done this, but it just fits perfectly right there. And so it was really fun because, again, this is actually, I'd gone to a marketing agency, and we were like, hey, this is an idea we have for a product. Let's just make it. And we did the same thing. This one we actually did a Kickstarter. So we had the idea. We just got one of the pillows made. Filmed this. This video was just filmed in our office, like the whole thing. And we, again, on Kickstarter and later Indiegogo, which are platforms for doing pre-orders, we were able to do like $300,000 in pre-sales, which again is really cool because it's not so much like, hey, great, we just got a bunch of money. It's like, well, you have to take that money and now we have to go pay and actually make the product. So it's not just $300 we just got to go, buy a Tesla with. It was, hey, like, let's start building this business with this initial money that we got. So that was a really fun experience as well. And a big learning that I got from this personally was the fact that you really have to sometimes you have to move really fast, and you have to kind of push things quickly. But the opposite side of it is when you do that, sometimes things break. Like we had our manufacturing process, we've had to switch already like 4 times, and this is in the past year, of just trying to find someone who can make it for us and do a good job. And especially now with everything going on in the world, finding all the individual pieces to get to us at the right time is really difficult. So there's so many pieces that fit into it, but it's been awesome because even though we've been missing some of those big pieces, we've still been able to have a successful company. This one, we just hit $1 million in sales just last month, and we did our first Kickstarter a year ago. So that was a really cool experience for us because now we're like, all right, well, what are some other products? We came out with one that's bigger, and now we're going to do pillowcases, and it's just been really cool to see how quickly you can build a business. This one right here, it's kind of gross foot, so sorry if anyone doesn't like feet. But this is another cool experience, how easy it is to get started. So I had a friend that I play hockey with, and he struggled his whole life with feet pain. He has really flat feet, and he's really, I guess, active. Like he's hiking all the time. He plays hockey, and he's always had feet pain. And so he came to me one time and he's like, hey, I keep going to physical therapists. They keep having me like grab a towel with my toes, and he's like, it's not really working the right muscles. So he found this problem that he had and he'd been dealing with for a really long time. He's like, I have this idea for to be able to actually move the muscles in your feet, in the arch of your foot, I should say. And so this is something that he just filmed in his house. Maybe I'll go back to full screen now so you can actually see this better. But he just filmed this at his house. Again, it was at the makerspace, and we just got some clear like plastic acrylic, that's what it's called, and we bought a little heel cup off Amazon, and he went to Home Depot and bought a couple screws. And what it does is you just move this little paddle. I guess you can't see my finger up there. You move this little paddle with your foot, and he's like, I started doing this, and a couple months later, like, I didn't have any more feet pain. He's like, this is awesome. And so we're in the process of working on this one right now. But what was cool about it is, again, like, the whole process of making this prototype, it's not always the case, but it went from an idea to something on the computer to actually something physical that we can test with in a matter of a couple hours. Obviously, that was kind of, I mean, it took us a while to kind of actually sit down and do it. We had talked about it for a while, but it's just really cool to be able to see like an idea that you have or a problem that you have, coming up with a solution. And now he's working with a couple universities, doing some clinical studies with it, and this is all in the matter of the last year that he's been doing this. So again, it's really cool to see how ideas can become reality. I guess too, along the way, like, I want you guys to feel like you can, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Are there any thoughts or questions that you have so far? Yeah. So he was asking about like what it's like to do a Kickstarter campaign or pre-orders. So I mentioned on a couple of these products we did do Kickstarter. I've helped some friends do some, and then also you're able to do some pre-orders. So the way that it works is for Kickstarter specifically, you actually they ask you, I guess you can probably get away with not having it, but you want to show it in the video. They ask you to have like an actual working like version of your product or a prototype. So they say, hey, make a prototype, and then usually you have a video that just kind of explains it, kind of almost something like this that I just showed you, but probably with a little more. And some of you may have seen some Kickstarter videos, but they usually are talking. The story that I told you about my friend would kind of be what the video is. So, and again, what we've actually found, what I've learned over time is for Kickstarter and taking pre-orders, a lot of times you want it to be pretty authentic. Like, you want it to just be like you filmed it on your phone and you're just telling a story, right? And I think that why that works is because people just want to support a cause, and they want to support a person, and that's why tools like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, which they're kind of competitors, but usually you'll go on both. That's why they're pretty powerful. And what it does, essentially, kind of going back to what Kickstarter and Indiegogo is again, people go in and they're essentially pre-ordering, so they're giving you money and saying, hey, I know I'm not going to get this right now, and usually it's like 3 to 6 months later, you're like, hey, I'm supporting this cause because I want to see this actually become a product, and people feel like they're really part of that and part of the company and bringing it to life. And so they give you that initial money, and what that does is that allows you to go then talk to the manufacturers, actually get the product made, and so then you can ship it. And usually the people that back you is what they call it. People that back you or that did a pre-order, you'll send them a product, and usually it's at a pretty discounted price, and then that allows you to again place that first order, so then you can go and sell it. It's always kind of nice because like, cool, we just did even $10,000 or $100,000, $200,000. It's like, okay, that's great, but the biggest value that Kickstarter and even again pre-orders brings is it brings validation to your idea. So when you know that other people are actually willing to put money down to pay for your product, that is really valuable. A big mistake that somebody had, that somebody, a lot of people make is they have an idea and they're like, hey, this is my idea, and they love it and they feel like it's like they get really emotionally attached to it, and there's like it's like their little baby, and then they go and they show their baby to the world, and the world's like, you have an ugly baby. Like, I don't want that baby. I don't want to see that baby. I don't want anything to do with that baby, and they're really disappointed. So the best thing to do, and this is probably terrible, it's probably not the best analogy, but what you want to do and what Kickstarter and pre-orders allow you to do, and even prototyping and making things really quick and cheap, is you can actually take that and you go and you show it to the world, and the world says, hey, you have an ugly baby, and you're able to ask them, well, what is it about my baby that you think is ugly? And you're actually talking to the customer, and you're learning about who the customer is, what they actually want, and at the end of the day, you're going to be able to, your product is going to change. Going back to Pillow Cube for this one, so it's like a foot by a foot, and then we have different heights because of different shoulder widths. And so we thought with this one, we're like, hey, let's go put it out there. We got some initial feedback. We did some testing, and then we're like, hey, we feel good. Let's go put it up on Kickstarter. You know, it did pretty well. And then over the next couple months, once we started shipping out product, we started saying, hey, again, what do you think about our baby? How is it working? You know, some people are like, this is amazing, and other people are like, this is the worst thing ever. And so what we asked them then was, well, why was it the worst? And they're like, well, because it's only this big, and I can't roll over, or I feel like I'm going to fall off my pillow, which is a really weird experience to feel like you're falling off your pillow. And so people were like, why don't you just make it like twice as wide? Why not just make it double the width? And then I can roll over. It feels more like a normal pillow. And so then about, I guess, 6 months ago, we did another Kickstarter, and we did one for one that was twice as wide. So being able to, that's what's so awesome about what we call crowdfunding or Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and being able to take pre-orders. What's cool about that is, again, you can quickly get a product out into the world and see what people think about it and change. Where I guess you can say in the past, before Kickstarter and these platforms were around, you kind of had to go and spend a lot of money, spend a lot of time. You're making your baby and then putting it out into the world and finding out that no one likes it. And so that's what's really cool again about our day and age that we live in now, with technology, with again platforms that we can get pre-orders from, that it really allows us to do that. Hopefully that answered your question. 10 minutes left. Okay, so kind of go through some of these. So thought about this a lot, like what does it mean to be successful? And let's see. I'm going to jump through this because I wanted to get to some things that I really want to touch on. So again, going back to like when we thought about like building a business and that being really daunting, and like what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? Like how many out there actually want to be an entrepreneur? Can you raise your hand? Okay, so like I'm going to say like maybe a third. The other third are sleeping. The other third probably just don't know what they want to do yet. So there are a lot of different types of entrepreneur, and hopefully with kind of the experience that I've showed you, from my experience, you can see that there are different ways to become an entrepreneur. So, and there are different types of entrepreneurship. So some are like lifestyle businesses. So the makerspace that I was telling you about, it's not going to make a ton of money, but it's just like a nice little business. My sister-in-law, my wife's sister, they started a company. Her husband is really good at welding, and she's a pretty good designer. And so they developed these floating shelves so that you don't see brackets. It just looks like it's just like stuck on the wall, and they look really cool. And they've started a business, and they're doing really well. Like that's kind of a lifestyle business. Like it's not a technology company that they're going to sell for $1 billion. It's like, hey, this is a good like lifestyle product or business. Another part of it is called venture capital. That's like, this is what my wife is actually interested in. Those are the people that have the money. So sometimes when you're building a business, you can either go and do like pre-orders and get money from customers, or you can go and ask people and say, hey, I want some money, I need this to start my business, right? So that's venture capital, or kind of briefly touching on that. There's product-based companies, which a lot of the times these are like lifestyle, and then there's service-based. So you're providing a service, whether it could be like a marketing company or a window washing company or those types of things. Like those are all different types of entrepreneurship. So I want you to all think about what are some of your strengths and weaknesses. One of the books that I really enjoy is called Radical Candor. She talks about in the book, the author, about there are superstars and rock stars. And this is why I always want to encourage people to be like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur, and you don't have to be really good at a lot of different things. You can be really good at one thing and be the best at it. And those are the rock stars. So finding someone that's like really, really good, and they're the ones that are just like world class. They're the best developer, they're the best designer, they're the best marketer, the best whatever. And then you have superstars, and those are the people that are kind of the big picture. They're the ones that want to move up. They want to like kind of manage people, and you can be any of these, and companies need both of these. So just like there's a lot of different types of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs, there's different types of people, and whatever your skill set is, you can use those. So I was hoping to get into this more, but maybe we can rush through it really fast. So I was thinking about how you start a business. First off, you have an idea. Then you can make a prototype of that. Whether it's physical, I focus a lot on like physical products, but you can prototype also with software. And then you validate the idea, meaning you're going to go in and you're going to show it to customers or potential customers. You're going to get their feedback and make the changes that you need. Then you can launch it, and whether that's a pre-sale or you just straight launching it, and then you scale it, and then what everybody wants is they want to make a ton of money, right? I don't know, I might be too young for this. I feel old. Scrooge McDuck. But that's what we all want to be, just swimming in gold coins. But a lot of times, again, you don't know what you don't know, so maybe I can kind of end on this. Again, like, take the opportunity to sorry, I'm going to skip through some of this. Take the opportunity to get involved. There are a lot of really good resources. I'm sure Russ has a lot of really good resources here at the university. Some of the things that I used, BYU has this really cool place where all the professors, any research they do, they take it to this place called the Tech Transfer, and anyone can go in and check it out and be like, hey, that's a cool idea, I want to make a business out of that. And then you kind of share the profits with BYU. It's really cool, like, because personally, like, I'm not an idea person. I always want to be like the person that's like comes up with these really big ideas, and like I'm like have this such awesome idea for a product, but that's just not me. I'm more of like an executor. Like, I know how to get things done, and so something like this is really good for that because you can go in and find those. There's like a nationwide club, you can call it. It's called 1 Million Cups, where you go in and they usually have a couple businesses that pitch their idea. They do this in Provo and Lehigh and Salt Lake. But it's a cool experience to see people sharing their business ideas, and then they get feedback. Or if you have your own, you can sign up and go and pitch your idea and get feedback from other small businesses and entrepreneurs. There's websites like Fiverr and Upwork where you can pay other people to like find designers and do it for relatively cheap. The Opportunity Quest here, right? The Utah Entrepreneur Challenge, which Snow had was top 20, top 10 last year. Top 3, even better. Top 5, top 3. So Snow had a company, a startup that was in the top 3 last year. Silicon Slopes Tech Summit. There's a lot of different things. Another cool thing is like Utah, and there are federal grants that like the government will say, hey, they see this need, and they'll actually give you money to start your business. And then here are just some books, and I can have Russ share these with you. Some of the books that I enjoyed, they're not all business books, but some that I find. There's that Radical Candor that I talked about earlier, and yeah. So I was gonna do. Okay, so this is what I was gonna do. So, anybody who maybe they don't want it. It's okay. You know what? He wants it. Okay, this is what this is what I'm gonna give away. So going back to Pillow Cube, and maybe this is why like you're all thinking about Pillow Cube because you're all like sleeping right now. It's dark. I'm probably pretty boring. Got masks on. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. In the next, okay, he's gonna buy one. Even better. I was gonna give one away, but I was gonna bring some, but I figured that probably wasn't the best idea. So, if any of you can either have an idea, and I really wish we could have done this, because one of the activities I like doing is like coming up with the worst business idea you can possibly think of, and then make it into a good idea. Like mine was, this is so stupid, but I love crushing my potato chips and just eating like crumbs like that instead of getting my hands dirty. Anyway, so that was gonna be my idea. I was gonna pitch you guys, and then like get feedback and be like, hey, how could this actually be a good idea? Anyways, so by next class period, if you can send an idea over and you've talked to 50 people to validate that idea, or you have read one of these books, finished one of these books, you don't have to write a book report, but just like convince me that you actually read the book, I'll send you a pillow. Okay? So, you know what? I should have started with that probably. You would have been a lot more engaged, but I'll see. So, yeah, here's my email, and he can share it. So just email me. That's my phone number. So if you ever want to text or call me, if you have any questions, I'm happy to help. But yeah, so do that. If you all do it, which would be amazing, I may have to reevaluate things, or maybe I send it to you over time. Again, so either come up with an idea and talk with 50 people. And what I want to see with that is I want to actually see like a Google sheet or something where you have like, I talked with this person and this is the feedback they gave me the idea. I talked to this person, feedback, or read one of those books, and we'll have them send out that list of books. Yeah, come up with the idea and share it with 50 people and actually get feedback. Yeah, and take notes of their feedback. So 50 people, and then yeah, just reach out to me and I'll get that to you. So thanks for having me, everybody.